Díobh chuirde, fáilte thar. This is going to be my first video of a few videos discussing the pronunciation of Irish vowels. So if you don't understand any of the language or terms I'm using in this video, maybe give the video I just released all about how vowels work in general in language a little look. There's going to be lots more info to come about how stress and consonants affect the vowels around them, but this is just going to be about the vowels that I think are the most simple to explain. Before I get into it, this will not concern Ulster Irish vowels at all. Otherwise, every 10 seconds I would be saying, oh, but in Ulster they do this, but in Ulster it's pronounced like this. So I'm just going to make a separate video about that, and maybe a couple more separate videos about Ulster Irish pronunciation. Having said that, this is going to be very general, so anything I say, take with a grain of salt, because obviously there's going to be lots of local variation when it comes to the pronunciation of vowels, depending on what dialect you're talking about. So, let's get into it. As I've said before, 5 letters are used to represent vowel sounds in Irish. We just use the English names for them, A, E, I, O, and U, and they can come as a short sound or a long sound. The long vowels are represented with a little dash accent called the fada, and those letters are referred to as A fada, E fada, I fada, O fada, and U fada. They're considered to be the same letters. I'll talk more about spelling later, but when it comes to this length, right, one big difference in the dialects is that in Ulster, the difference between a long vowel and a short vowel is often just that, how long it is. Compare my poor Ulster pronunciation of the word etch and etch, and also compare ma and mana. Those sounds are the exact same, but the longer ones are literally just longer in duration. In Connacht and Munster, the story is a little bit different. A short vowel will be shorter in duration than its long counterpart, but it will also have a slightly different vowel sound, what we call a different quality, right? Compare the short I sound with the long I sound in Irish. A short I is pronounced I, as in the English word bin, and a long I is pronounced E, as in the English word see. So you can tell instantly by hearing those words that I is shorter than E, but also I and E are not the same quality. And this difference in quality is the same with all short vowels in Irish, which I'm going to go through now. I just mentioned a short I sound. A short I is pronounced I, as in the English word bin. Irish example words include shin, glick, or the word itself, I. A short E sound is pronounced like the vowel in the English word dress, Example words, te, le, or de, which is not pronounced de in Kerry and Cork, in case you were about to assume that it was. A short A sound is a little complicated. Most of the time it's pronounced ah, as in the English word hot, so ah. But sometimes, depending on the word, depending on the spelling, it can be pronounced ah. So my example for the sound ah would be the word bok. But sometimes, depending on the word, most of the time when spelled EA or AI, that vowel will be pronounced ah, like in the words brak or at. Moving on, a short O is pronounced how my dialect of English would say the word money, money. like in the words the or cuss. A short U is a very similar sound, but it has to be said that it is different. A short U is higher than a short O sound, and it's pronounced how my dialect of English would pronounce the word book. So, like the Irish words luch or muck. When it comes to the long vowels, E fada and A fada are easy to explain because the English counterparts are pretty much the exact same. An I fada is pronounced exactly like the vowel in the English word see, as I just said, E. Example words include she and ni. And A fada, a long A sound, is pronounced like the vowel in the English word father, ah. Examples include the word itself, ah, na, or law. When it comes to the other three long vowel sounds, E fada, O fada, and U fada, this is where mistakes tend to be made. People assume that they are the exact same as the English sounds A, O, and how many modern, younger speakers of English will say their oo sound as ew. So A, O, and ew are similar sounds to these long vowels in Irish. They are similar, but in English, what you find is these vowels are actually two vowel sounds put together, right? So when I say these, you can tell they're two vowel sounds because I'm moving my jaw when I say them. A is a combination of e. A, you can tell I'm moving my jaw. O and ew, which is ew. But in Irish, these long vowels should be pronounced as one vowel sound, what is called a monophthong. So if you can't get that instantly, just try and practice by keeping your jaw put. O, and oo, a very deep oo. You will find speakers of English who still have a deep oo sound as their U pronunciation, but a lot of younger speakers will stay now you, who, and skill, which doesn't exist in Irish. Even when it comes to multiple vowel letters together, Irish works a lot different to English as well. Multiple vowel letters together like these, most of the time, will be pronounced still with one vowel sound. Usually what happens is one letter will represent the actual sound that you're making. I'll give an example in a second. And one will be a hinting vowel to hint to you as the reader that the consonant beside it is broad or slender. I'll give some examples now. So compare the word sa with the word sha. The vowel in both of these words, the actual sound that you're producing, is the exact same, ah. But the E is inserted into the word sha, just as a hint to you, the reader, that the S is a slender S. Exact same thing with the words lum versus the word lum. They both have the exact same vowel sound, o, a short O, but the I is inserted into the word lum to hint that the L is slender. So that means that the same vowel sound, a and o, can be written multiple ways. Can every vowel sound that I just mentioned be written multiple ways? The answer is, unfortunately, yes, many, many ways. So when it comes to EA and IO, The spelling is quite, I won't say obvious, but one of these vowels is being pronounced as the vowel, and that is how it goes with all of the other combinations of letters, which I will go through in a second. The only ones that need clarifying are these few, right? So at first glance, you might want to pronounce these differently, but I'll explain how they work now. So IA, neither of these are a hinting vowel. They're both pronounced. So it's two vowel sounds. Ia, ia. Similar thing with UA. Almost every dialect, I think, has the diphthongs IA and UA. UA is pronounced ua. Excuse me. Very rare, but you will find it. UA fada is pronounced pretty much how it looks. Ua. Then AE. AE is pronounced as a long A sound, so just an E fada. And you'll also find it as AEI if followed by a slender consonant. Now, AO and AOI are quite the pair. In most dialects, they're both pronounced the same as E, and in Connacht, I believe that's it. That's just how it is. Both AOI and AO are pronounced E. But in Munster, they are considered two different sounds. So AOI will be pronounced E still, and AO will be pronounced A. There are some words which in the standard are spelled AOI, but Munster will pronounce with an A as well, like ne or ke. But that doesn't mean that AOI is pronounced A all the time in Munster. Most of the time it is still E. And lastly, a very stupid standard spelling that we have is EO. EO is pronounced as a long O, even though there's no fada on it. There's 4 words which EO is pronounced as a short O sound, O, but I will get to them in a second, because now what we can do is we have all of our 10 simple vowels, so 5 short sounds, 5 long sounds, and we can list them, and I can go through examples of all of the ways that they are spelled. So we know that the sound A can be spelled either A, EA, or AI. Are there any more? Yes. For every single vowel sound, there are multiple ways it can be spelled. So I'm just going to go through them. First, we have the short I sound, I, which can be spelled these ways, as in the words glik, buin, quil, or quid. Moving on, the short E sound, can be spelled these ways, as in the words te, kesht, or it. Sometimes you'll find it spelled AI. And there are 2 words where just the letter A by itself will be pronounced as the words egg or ed. Then we have the short A sound, either A or A, as I said earlier, can be spelled these ways. And I'll give a couple more examples just to show that it can be pronounced either A or A, depending on the word. So we have cot, there it's pronounced A, ma, or ash, both AI. Sorry, AI can be pronounced both a or a. Then ogla and kiad. Again, EA can be pronounced either a or a. And mag. So when followed by, or when preceded by a slender consonant and followed by a slender consonant, the sound a will be spelled E-A-I. Moving on, short O sound, o can be spelled these ways, as in the words mo, shuk, or skull. And as I said earlier, I would tell you the 4 words where a short O is spelled E-O, and those are shu, anshu, duch, and ochid. Next, a short U, O can only be spelled 2 ways. Not in Ulster. In Ulster, it can be spelled more, but for the dialects that this video concerns, it's either spelled as U or IU, as in the words muck or chov. Then moving on to the long vowels. A long I sound E can be spelled the most ways. So obviously we have iPoda, as in the word ni. I said in Connacht, AO and AOI are both pronounced E, as in seal or ish. AOI again in Munster is still E. And it can also a long I can also be spelled these other ways, as in the words clee, cree, bui, eek, rohiecht, and brian, which is a lot. A long E sound, A, can be spelled these ways, as in the words gay, gael, gaelge, ticked, paste, and if you're in Munster, it can also be spelled AO. The letter E is an interesting one because it's actually quite a lazy vowel. Any consonant that comes before the letter E will definitely be slender, but any consonant that comes after the letter E will not necessarily be slender. So that's why in modern Irish you'll find that the sound E is usually written EI, just to clarify that the next consonant is definitely slender. And that's why also AE, any consonant that follows that, like in the word gael, is actually broad, because E is such a lazy vowel letter. You don't know necessarily whether the following consonant is broad or slender. And that's why in the word gaelge as well, there has to be an I there to clarify that the L is a slender L. Moving on, a long A sound, aw, can be spelled these ways, as in the words bod, Sean, Kyle, or Kishan. Next, a long O sound, O, can be spelled these ways, as in the words og, kjol, bioid. Sometimes as EO foda, as in the word show, the word shog, badoid, and gjoid. That also can be spelled a lot of ways. Then we have the long U sound, oo, can be spelled these ways, as in the words pus, few, soul, or even sometimes you for the I, as in queuing. And then the diphthongs that I mentioned, the 2 diphthongs that exist in almost every dialect. Ia can be spelled either IA or IAI, as in the words fia and fiain. And then ua can be spelled either ua or uai if followed by a slender consonant, as in slua or uanya. And that is it. Now, what you will find with all these different ways of spelling vowels, some of them will be the exact same. So, for example, ai can either be pronounced I, e in some words, or a in some words as well, which can be quite confusing. oi can be pronounced either I or o, depending on the word. And this is just a deeper explanation that when you have two vowel letters together, most of the time how it works is one of the letters is being pronounced, one of the letters is hinting. And I suppose that's all I have to say. Slán a gcuibh, gnáidí libse. See you in the next one, which is also going to be about vowels. This is not all I have to say. And I suppose I'll put all of those different spellings on one chart and post it on my Instagram. So, sinné slán go fáil, gur maith agaibh.